Pokemon series has had its fair share of spin-offs over the years, from the simple but enjoyable to the simple and disappointing. However, none of them have been quite as unexpected as Pokemon Conquest, a strategy game for the Nintendo DS made by Tecmo Koei. It's strange how out of every franchise Pokemon could have had a crossover with, especially looking at all the properties that Nintendo owns. They chose some series no one really cares about and then let that developer develop it. But Nintendo have had a lot of crazy ideas in its time, so maybe this one will work out and be good. Let's have a look. Pokemon Conquest is set in the world of Ranchi, where people live alongside Pokemon like the original games. Only this time, instead of young children fighting Pokemon, they've been replaced with warriors and warlords, which makes more sense, I suppose. There's a legend that if someone can conquer the 17 kingdoms in the land, then they will encounter a legendary Pokemon and everything will be great. You, as a new warlord of the Kingdom of Aura, decide to take over the 17 kingdoms and eventually stop the apparently evil Nobunaga from doing the same thing. It's presented in a standard anime way and it's a pretty standard story. Like the original games though, no one's really here for the story, so instead let's have a look at the gameplay. It's still turn-based, but instead of more one-on-one battle, movement now plays a large part, with the tactics revolving where each Pokemon is on the battlefield. Pokemon only have one move, can only move a certain number of spaces each turn, and attacks only hit certain squares. The battles are most similar to games like Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre, but I haven't played those games, so I can't really make any real comparisons here. Also, instead of having a squad of Pokemon on you, you can have warriors each with their own Pokemon that you then station in each of the kingdoms you've conquered. Each warrior has their own warrior power, so there's still a lot of customization here, especially considering the fact that there's almost 200 Pokemon in this game. So maybe your favourite isn't in this game, mine wasn't, very disappointing, but you can still customize your squad and there's still a lot of fun in picking out which Pokemon you want to use primarily. It's interesting because instead of having this squad, it's more of an army of Pokemon that you use to take over the land, which is a very cool idea, especially the battling and war nature of the Pokemon series, that you would have this large army like this. There are still many similarities to the original games though. Types are still present, Pokemon can still evolve, but instead they don't level up in the traditional way. Instead you have something called Link. Now every warrior apparently has a link with their Pokemon and this link gets stronger as you battle. It seems like an unnecessary change to the leveling up system, but there's nothing really wrong with it and you still evolve once you get to certain points, so I can't really complain too much. The graphics aren't anything special, I'm afraid to say. It would have been nice to see this game on the 3DS, to have the battle animations be more impressive and to have the sprites to be in fully 3D, but again, it's not an ugly looking game, so I can't complain too much. The core mechanics here work well and can lead to a lot of fun battles as you use your tactics to conquer each kingdom. Each kingdom has a battlefield, each with its own gimmick that makes each battle interesting, or at least the ones that to take over the kingdoms interesting and varied, so you're not going to get bored when you come to a new kingdom and each one is going to have its own surprise. I have to say though, the battles can feel quite basic here, especially looking at similar games such as Advance Wars and the Fire Emblem series, which are also published by Nintendo. Battles feel like they're missing the same depth that the aforementioned games had, maybe because this is Pokemon and this is a spin-off and Pokemon has always had a more child focus, definitely more aimed towards children. They're still fun, but I feel like more hardcore strategy fans might be put off by the basic gameplay. Outside of battles involve managing your Pokemon army. You can either attack other kingdoms, train your Pokemon, or search for new warriors with new Pokemon. You can also delegate each kingdom a task, so you don't have to worry about managing every single kingdom. Again, this feels quite basic compared to other strategy games, and also games that I play on the PC such as Civilization, but this is for the DS. I feel like the point in this game is that it's not a game to be sat down and played hours and hours at like most strategy games. This is supposed to be pick up, do a bit of training, searching for some Pokemon, and then conquer a kingdom maybe, only for an hour or so. I don't feel like this is a game that is aimed at people who have spent hours and hours sitting at a computer. So I don't really feel cheated, the fact that the gameplay is quite basic here. The most impressive thing about this game and this crossover is how well it works. This game couldn't exist without either franchise being here. Couldn't be able to exist without Pokemon because there would be no desire to collect them all and to customize your squad and to evolve your Pokemon, and it couldn't exist without Nobunaga's ambition because then you wouldn't have taking over the kingdoms and you wouldn't have management. Overall, the game plays really well. Unfortunately, the gameplay can feel basic, but it's still enjoyable even when certain battles in this game drag on. Some people might also be put off by the fact that it's quite a slow start to this game as it introduces all the concepts, although I feel like the tutorial could have definitely been shorter because there really isn't that many concepts here that need to be explained. It's pretty standard to have this long tutorial, especially in strategy games, especially when you look at other franchises such as Advance Wars. I mean, that game was ridiculous. The first hour you were just doing tutorials. It's a strange crossover that even the fact that it exists is very strange because Pokemon fans are most likely not going to like the last changes in the gameplay, and strategy fans will most likely be bored. I enjoyed playing through it though, and it's definitely one of the best Pokemon spin-offs that has ever been released. My score is 8 out of 10. A good game that lacks the depth to be an amazing one.